Hey guys, it's Dr. Justin Marcagiani. Welcome to the Beyond Wellness Radio podcast. Feel free and head over to justinhealth.com. We have all of our podcast transcriptions there, as well as video series on different health topics ranging from thyroid to hormones, ketogenic diets, and gluten. While you're there, you can also schedule a consult with myself, Dr. J, and or our colleagues and staff to help dive into any pressing health issues you really want to get to the root cause on. Again, if you enjoy the podcast, feel free and share the information with friends or family, and enjoy the show. Hey guys, Dr. Justin Marcagiani here. Today we're going to be talking about the best ways to naturally reduce blood clots and improve your blood thinning capacity. It's going to help your cardiovascular system. It's going to help your body's overall inflammation levels. I'm excited to dive into this topic. Before we do, please smash that like button. Really helps a search algorithm. Love to see your comments down below, guys, on the topic. All right, so let's dive in. When we have more clots in the body, more clots in the vascular system, the question becomes why? Usually there's going to be inflammation. And we're going to be talking about some of the ways that we can improve blood thinning. Now, at the same time, to improve blood thinning, you have to also reduce inflammation. So we'll hit it from all sides of the equation here. Now, a couple things that you can do to assess and to test if you have increased risk for clots or increased risk for your blood being more viscous and thicker. A couple of lab tests that we can do out of the gate. So we can run a fibrinogen test. Fibrinogen is the building block to fibrin, which actually makes clots. So if you see lots of fibrinogen, usually that reference, it's going to be usually around 200 to 400. If you're in the upper 300s to 400-ish range, you're at a higher risk of clotting. So fibrinogen is a good, just cursory overview. If you're overweight, if you have high blood pressure, that's just a good, just general look in the mirror kind of sign that you have risk. If your belly sticks out more than your shoulder, so to speak, right? The guy should have that kind of V taper. If that starts to look more like a U or out like that, like a reverse V, then you probably have some blood thinning issues out of the gate. So you're probably more risk for clotting. Fibrinogen's a good one. CRP, HS-CRP is better because it can run under 3. CRP is a good inflammation marker, but usually it goes 3 and higher. HS-CRP will go lower. We want to be below 1 ideally. That's a good kind of way to look at it. SED rate or ESR, erythrocyte sedimentation rate, it's another clotting or inflammation marker, I should say. The more inflamed we are, the more likely platelets are to aggregate and stick together in clots. And so that's a big sign there. So inflammation, CRP, I would say below 1's ideal. Above 1 starts to increase your risk. Again, if you're 1.3, 1.2, not a big deal. Look at everything as a whole. Homocysteine is another good one because homocysteine is a good inflammatory vasculature marker. Homocysteine goes high when you have inadequate levels of B vitamins, especially folate, methylated B12, B6. So these are important things to look at as well. And usually if you're eating a processed food diet, you're going to have those things in there. High levels of insulin. So if you're fasting insulin's above 10, if you have a functional glucose tolerance that's dysfunctional, meaning your fasting coming into a meal should be below 100. Within that first hour, you should be 140 to 120 or below. Within hour 2, you should be below 120 to 100. Hour 3, definitely back into that below 100 range. If your blood sugar stays up higher and or longer, it means you're making more insulin and there's insulin resistance because your cells are not pulling that glucose in to the liver, into the muscles or burning it. It's hanging out in the bloodstream too long, which means your cells are starting to get numb receptor site wise to insulin. So I like fasting insulin. I like homocysteine. I like fibrinogen. I like CRP. These are all really good markers. I would say other markers that you can look at would be like a prothrombin time or an INR test. These are good tests that will look at clotting as well. And a D-dimer. D-dimer is another good test as well to look at clotting. So these are good things to kind of use to assess, hey, where's my risk at right now? So then you can start to incorporate more of these things. So I'm going to dive in and kind of pull out my little short list of things that you can do. Again, if you already are on blood thinning compounds that are like medication-based, right? Blood thinning medication things, whether it's Coumadin or warfarin or some of the new pharmaceutical ones. I think it's Plavix is one of the newer ones that's been out for a while. Be careful. Talk to your doctor about this stuff first before you jump on it because you could make your blood too thin. Right now, I'm always kind of the adage that you're better off being on natural things and reducing inflammation and getting to the root cause of why your blood's coagulating and getting thicker than being on a medication. But if you're going to start making changes, make sure you talk to the prescribing doctor so they know what you're doing, so then they can monitor it with prothrombin or a D-dimer. So as you start to reduce your medication, you can incorporate healthy lifestyle and they can make sure your clotting is not going too low, where if you're at risk for let's say a simple cut bleeding out because you're not clotting well. So you got to just make sure you're being responsible. Let the prescribing doctor know that, hey, I'm trying to get healthier. I'm trying to do things outside of just take a medication. Please monitor me. And if I get healthier, let's adjust that medication downwards. So we'll be responsible about it. All right, so I'm going to put on screen here in just a second my little list here, and we'll kind of dive in and talk about what our options are, guys. All right, very good. And again, if you want to dive in deeper, if you have more questions or you want to dive in deeper to look at your own situation to get healthier and really take these functional medicine principles to the next level, there'll be coordinates down below where you can reach out to my team to schedule a functional medicine support consult with me worldwide. All right, guys, I'll try to get this up here on screen and we'll dial in. And if you guys like this new formatting and me putting notes on screen, I used to have a dry erase board here years ago. I may go back to that really soon, but I'm just trying to put some other engagement up here so you guys can follow along because I know it's kind of complicated and it's nice to have some notes up so it's easier to follow. All right. Let's see here. All right. Perfect. Let me know when you guys can see that. And we'll have it up on screen in just one sec. Okay, here we go. So the best natural way to reduce blood clots and make your blood thinner. That's the first thing we're going to be talking about. That's the overall topic. So again, this is like common sense, but stay hydrated. 70, 80% of all the fluid in your body is going to come just from water. We need good water, right? The thicker your blood is, you'll see high levels of red blood cells. You'll see, higher protein levels in your blood. You're going to see higher iron levels in your blood, right? Just having enough water, good hydration, good electrolytes, sodium, chloride, potassium, magnesium, good electrolytes, good hydration, clean filtered water is going to be key. Just maintaining hydration will do wonders for allowing your blood to flow. Again, people are consuming sodas. Guess what? They're going to have a diuretic effect. Not to mention they have tons of phosphoric acid. So your body's going to be peeing out lots of magnesium and potassium and alkaline-rich electrolytes to buffer the acidity. And so, number one, when you're doing lots of diuretics, too much coffee, too much tea, that's going to be problematic. At least those have health benefits. We'll talk about that. But things like your sodas and things like that are going to have lots of phosphoric acid. I mean, you can use those compounds to clean engines that are dirty, right? Because the phosphoric acid, the pH is so low, and your body's going to use lots of potassium, magnesium to buffer it. So good hydration, half your body weight in ounces is pretty darn good. Exercise, obviously that's good. That's going to get your heart stronger. That's going to get your heart pumping harder. So if you, one, it's going to help your stroke volume. Okay, that's a big thing. Get your heart pumping more blood per pump. Number two, you're going to increase this enzyme called endothelial synthase, which produces nitric oxide, which is a vasodilator. It's going to open up your blood vessels. And it's also going to help improve mitochondrial density so you have better aerobic metabolism. So lots of benefits from exercise. I'm not talking about it specifically here, but I'm just going to go foundationally anti-inflammatory, low toxin, nutrient dense diet. That's essential. Some kind of a paleo template or a whole food diet that emphasizes good healthy proteins, good healthy fats that are anti-inflammatory, not the excess omega-6, processed vegetable oils, or junky trans fat. Those are going to be highly inflammatory. Anything that causes inflammation is going to cause your cells and your platelets to aggregate, stick together, and that's going to decrease blood flow and increase blood clotting. So really important on that. Omega-3s. Now, this is important. So the big one are going to be high-quality fish. So whether it's a wild Alaskan sockeye, salmon, some tuna, these are all going to be really good, high-quality fish. Don't worry about the excess mercury in there as long as you're consuming fish that have a high selenium to mercury ratio. Selenium will naturally chelate mercury. The benefit of consuming, fish 3 to 5 times a week, if it's going to be of a good, healthy quality, whether it's wild Alaskan sockeye or salmon, these are going to be excellent sources. They're going to have high selenium to low mercury ratio. And again, try to get wild. So like flash frozen is really good. Costco has some good deals on some of these things. Just keep an eye out that. You can just Google selenium to mercury ratio in fish, and you'll see things like skipjack tuna is good, salmon's good. Just stay away from the fish that are going to have the high mercury to low selenium. That's going to be your swordfish. That's going to be your pilot whale. It's going to be your shark, those kind of things. And you'll be in pretty good shape. But omega-3s from cod liver oil, which has lots of good vitamin A and vitamin K2, excellent sources to help your blood stay nice and thin. Consuming fish is going to be ideal. If not, supplementally, in my line, we use Omega Supreme, about 2 grams a day. You can go up to 4 as well, 4 to 6 if you need that extra bit of clotting as well. Garlic is awesome. A lot of times we'll use garlic or alicillin
and a lot of killing protocols because it's wonderful for knocking down bacteria and bugs. I love it for that, but it has really good compounds in there. They're going to help decrease those platelets from aggregating and sticking together. So allicin is wonderful at that, very antimicrobial, has benefits of lowering cholesterol as well. Not that we need to lower cholesterol. That's kind of a misnomer. You're all about lowering the inflammation that may drive cholesterol out of balance, or lowering the particle size of cholesterol that comes from processed foods, processed omega-6, processed vegetable oils, trans fats. Those are the things we want to reduce the cholesterol with. And that's usually going to be your particle size B cholesterol. So if we run a particle size test, we'll be able to see if you have A or B. And if you have high cholesterol and it's particle size B, then we definitely want to work on reducing that. But typically statins aren't going to change the particle size. You have to make diet changes to reduce that. Next, ginger. Love ginger. Any of my patients listening know that I use ginger tea a lot in my die-off reaction kind of protocols because ginger has amazing anti-inflammatory benefits. It has amazing motility benefits. It helps with the gut lining, especially with Manuka tea. It really works and helps that gut lining that may have some atrophic gastritis or some generalized gut inflammation. Really works great at that. Natural blood thinning effects as well. Again, ginger has all kinds of compounds in there, gingerol and other anticoagulant properties that are going to prevent clots and help thin things out. So love that as well. Green tea, right? Green tea has a compound in there called epigallocatechins, EGCGs, that work amazing to help reduce coagulation, decrease clotting. Again, they're going to have all kinds of wonderful benefits. Guys use topical green tea in the hair to reduce DHT as well and help with hair blood flow. So that works great too. So green tea is another excellent compound there as well. Vitamin E is great. It's going to have natural blood thinning effects. It's going to have vasodilating effects. That means opening up the blood vessels. Again, amazing benefits there. Again, from a food standpoint, high fructose corn syrup is going to decrease endothelial synthase, thus cause more constriction. So lots of high fructose corn syrup will be a problem. Again, nutrient-dense foods. Vitamin E is going to be amazing for that. Nuts, seeds, spinach, broccoli, grass-fed meats, high-quality fish. These are going to be foods that are very high in vitamin E. And again, cod liver oil is great because usually you want to get vitamin A, D, E, and K together. So good, high-quality, fat-soluble vitamins together are going to work amazingly. Now, systemic enzymes. These are special kinds of enzymes that we take away from food. We are not taking these for digestive purposes, right? These are things we're actually taking on an empty stomach, typically 45 minutes to an hour away from foods. The goal is to get them to pass our tummy, go into our bloodstream so they can break up clots, so they can reduce inflammation. If there's inflammation in there, inflammation compounds like interleukins and cytokines and inflammatory compounds, it'll help break some of these things down, which is amazing. And we can find people that have maybe clots or risk of cardiovascular incidences. Maybe they have an echocardiogram issue. They have some high calcium plaque testing. We may come in there with high levels of systemic enzymes. Again, work with your cardiologist, work with your doctor, your conventional MD on this. Again, they're usually going to just prescribe a statin, maybe a blood pressure medication. Maybe they'll go do a blood thinner. But we want to actually see if we can break down some of these plaques. And again, it's not a perfect process. You can't just take these enzymes and live a crappy diet, crappy lifestyle and expect improvements. But there's been some data showing that it helps with clotting, breaks down the clots. It's going to have natural process of how it works. It's going to reduce inflammation because it's going to hit these cytokines. It's going to hit these interleukins and reduce them. Now, if we can hit it holistically where you're making healthy diet and lifestyle changes, so that reduces it. And then we also use these compounds to break it down even more and then also hit the clots. And so my favorite enzymes are going to be serrapeptase, whether it's from the silkworm, nattokinase. We can throw lumbrokinase in there. Bromelain. These are amazing enzymes. I'll put some links down below for the ones that I personally use to really help improve blood flow, make the blood slipperier, thinner, and also add more elastase to the collagen, right? So you have collagen, connective tissue, and you have elastin. And bringing that elastase enzyme up in the skin will allow skin to heal better with less scar tissue too. So we'll use systemic enzymes to help improve scar tissue. Now, you have to imagine it's possible to have scar tissue potentially in your vasculature, right? If you're creating lots of inflammation and you have endothelial fissures in there, it's possible, right? And so if you can help break down that tissue, break down that scar tissue in the vasculature, right? And add more elastase around it, that may help improve the integrity of those blood vessels. Also, if you consume vitamin E, and then you also consume high quality collagen peptides, that gives greater chance to have better integrity of the vasculature itself. Most people do not get good connective tissue amino acids in their body. We're not consuming bone broths and getting the skin of a lot of the meats. So we're missing a lot of these good building blocks. The glycine, the hydroxyproline, the proline, these are important building blocks. Getting good collagen peptides is amazing. I'll put a link down below to the one that I personally use. Next, I love NAC. NAC works amazing. It has natural antiviral qualities to it. So if you're sick or you're ill, you can reduce your viral load significantly with NAC. So I love that one here. Let me see if I can pull that down a little bit more for you guys. Okay, hold on. I'm going to pull this up just a little bit so you guys can see it. I'm going to put this above here. Yeah, here you guys go. So NAC, right, works amazing. Right, it's a powerful antioxidant, building block. NAC is a precursor to glutathione. Glutathione is your major endogenous antioxidant, right? Your body needs NAC to make glutathione. So we talked about earlier with collagen. Guess what? The major amino acid in collagen is glycine. And glycine is an important building block for glutathione. But even more important is NAC or cysteine. Cysteine is natural. They've added an N-acetyl group to it that just increases the absorption of it. And that's going to increase your glutathione levels, which is a natural antioxidant. It's endogenous. Your body makes it. So NAC won't be the antioxidant, but it will give you the building block for it. Now, NAC also has other great benefits of reducing viral load. It's a powerful antioxidant overall. It's going to reduce mucus thinning. So if you have any breathing issues or lung issues or allergies or cold issues or potential lung tightness, it can really help break down a lot of that mucus. They've used it with cystic fibrosis patients for many years in a nebulizer to break up mucus to help their lungs function better. They use it in the ER since the 1970s with patients that have overdosed on Tylenol. They can go into liver failure. Tylenol wipes out glutathione. They'll put IV NAC in, and that will bring people back from liver failure that have OD'd on Tylenol. So that's really important. And if you ever give your kid Tylenol, one, I'm not a huge fan of Tylenol for that purpose, but if you give your kids Tylenol because of pain kind of methods or because you have pain issues. Again, Tylenol is a central nervous system suppressant. It doesn't decrease inflammation, but it will decrease fever and decrease the sensation of pain. Give an NAC along with it. And so I typically recommend 2 grams of NAC a day for adults. You can go around 500 to 800 or so for kiddos. If you do too much NAC, you'll have dry eyes, dry mucous membranes, those type of situations. So NAC usually between 1 gram to 2 gram for adults is great. A lot of studies on it being helpful for breathing and hair loss is usually around 1,800 milligrams. NAC is also helpful for graying of hair because you have essentially hydrogen peroxide accumulate around the hair follicle that can bleach it a little bit, and that creates oxidative stress. And so by adding NAC in there, that helps with the pseudocatalase enzyme, which is glutathione-based, and that can help neutralize hydrogen peroxide and help with hair health. It also has natural blood thinning effects. It's shown to be as effective as Rogaine or minoxidil for helping to stimulate hair growth. And so I like NAC for its all kinds of benefits. And guess what? It helps thin out the blood. It breaks down clots. It reduces clumping of platelets. So lots and lots of good benefits there, guys. Amazing benefits there. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's little video. We'll turn it into a podcast. I think we went pretty deep on this here. Just to kind of look at it from a framework, the first thing I always recommend is simple stuff. Like what's foundational? Foundational stuff out of the gate is going to be good hydration, good water consumption, good, clean, filtered water, ideally reverse osmosis water if you're doing it from home, or some kind of a gravity system that's going to filter all the junk out. Number one, add some good electrolytes back in. That's amazing because your body needs good sodium and chloride, maybe some added potassium, magnesium. Some of that may be taken supplementally. You may add some into your water. So just keep an eye on some of that stuff out of the gates. Next thing after that is a good anti-inflammatory, nutrient-dense diet. That's going to be essential. We got to get the insulin levels down. We got to get the nutrient density up. If your diet is really good and really anti-inflammatory, guess what? You're going to naturally get some vitamin E in there. You're going to naturally get things like vitamin D. You're going to naturally get cysteine and glutathione building blocks and all those really important nutrients that are going to be helpful for reducing inflammation. So I love, love, love that out of the gates. And so then outside of that, then you can look at working with your functional medicine doctor and doing some of the testing we talked about, right? We talked about C-reactive protein, HSCRP. We talked about fibrinogen. We talked about D-dimer or prothrombin time test. We talked about SED rate, ESR. We mentioned D-dimer already, homocysteine, right? Talked about a fasting insulin test. These are all good tests to see where your inflammation's at, how you're doing with a lot of the compounds that can drive vasculature problems, right? So very important for you guys out of the gate. I want you thinking about this holistically so you have a good perspective on what's happening. It's really important that you look at things holistically so you understand what's happening. And again, if you have issues out of the gate, work with your conventional medical doctor. Just tell them, say, hey, here's the deal. I'm on these medications. I'm going to start getting healthier. And I know as I get healthier, my blood pressure may go down. My heart may get stronger. I may feel better. And I don't want these medications to overly thin out my blood or overly reduce my blood pressure. And just let them know, hey, I'd like to run tests more frequently with you so we can monitor this. And if I'm getting healthier, if I'm losing weight, if we have good markers of blood pressure improving, cardiovascular health improving, inflammation going down, I like to gently knock down those medications. Make sure they're comfortable with it, and then make sure they're monitoring you so you do it the right way. Again, you don't want people coming in there, coming off all their medications. They're not able to make a diet change. Then their physiology is way out of whack because they haven't gotten good health dialed in yet. So I want you guys to think about this holistically and do the right thing. All right, guys, hope you enjoyed today's podcast. If you have questions, feel free to chime in. We'll be able to answer those for you and make sure you feel good about the topic and you guys feel empowered as well. Let me know what you guys think. And then again, we'll put down links below. So if you guys want to reach out, you'll have access to all of that down below. Awesome, guys. All right. Well, wonderful chatting with you guys today here. Links below. And then links below to access myself and my staff, my team. All right, guys. Have an awesome day. Take care, y'all.